Hello and welcome to another UKVersus deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at a little bit of a weirder one, Shoto Todoroki 2 on order. Mainly this is going to be a punch deck. Shoto Todoroki 2, it has 3 enhancers. Once per turn, this attack gets +2 speed, +2 damage. Once per turn, your ranged attack gains stun 2. And once per turn, both players add 1 momentum to their hand. So, Shoto is a pseudo 7-8 hander. Once you can get some decent momentum going, and the idea is that you get the momentum and you keep recurring it, using the abilities to increase your speed and damage, and using stun to create an advantage situation. Going into the attack lineup, as you can see, is a pretty decent attack lineup. 4 Frozen Slash. It is a punch range, so it means that you can get that stun 2 if needed. But the main thing with this is the +2/+2. Frozen Slash is a 4 cost 3 high for 4 damage. With enhanced, if this attack has received both a speed and damage bonus, your next ranged attack gets +2 speed, +2 damage. Now we're not running that many more ranged, but it can be good to set up that 100 repeated percent smash. Also has a deadlock enhance of your rival loses 1 life each ranged attack in your card pool. So it's a nice little bit of deadlock threat. Not too great deadlock threat in this deck, but it's still a nice little trick. Then we have Downward Frostspike. It is a punch slam. 4 cost 3 low for 4. With enhanced, your next punch or ranged attack gets +3 damage. And deadlock enhance, this attack gains stun 3. So again, excellent stun threat on deadlock. And it goes, do you want to take this block this 4 damage, or do you want to put yourself in a position where the next one is going to be even tougher to deal with? Then we have a couple of tools which probably should be more in honesty. I probably should cut down the Frozen Slashes and increase the future charges, but we have Heroic Strike. Your rival commits 1 foundation for each punch in your card pool, so the later you can put this in, the better. And all of our attacks are punches, so it's going to be coming down. This has become a staple of the punch deck, and you'd be hard pressed to find anyone running punches that isn't running Heroic Strike at the minute. And we got Future Charge. Again, a punch, a 3 mid for 4, which allows us to draw, which is always good as a 6-hander. Moving on, we've got repeated 100% smash. This is the dollar card. Everyone knows what this guy does at the minute. It's a 5 cost, 2 low block, EX 3, powerful 3, punch ranged, 4 high for 6. So it means that we can give it the +2/+2 from Shoto if needed. We can give it the stun 2 if needed. And then we get to ready a foundation for each punch in our card pool. As well as if we can get this attack to 10 damage, we can prevent breakers and other forms of check manipulation from happening for the rest of the turn. That is absolutely huge. Then we have 1 for all, full cowling 5% strike. Enhance, discard your hand, draw 3 cards. Enhance, if this card is not blocked, commit your rival's character. It's a decent attack. It's another 4 high for 6, which is forcing resources. It's a decent block mod. And it's a way of shutting off characters like Nomu and Mirio. It's basically when you need to use your abilities now, or block this. And I'm going to try and make this as hard as possible for you to block. And then my own personal twist on this deck, because I've not seen many 2 people running it, is Final Smash. In the current meta with people building out, biding the time, waiting to get those attacks in, discounts of course, Tokiyami and Rapper and all these other hyper aggros, but looking at your Mirios, your overhauls, Final Smash comes in as a 4 difficulty, because if they have 8 or more foundations, it comes with -2, so it's a base 6, but realistically it's more of a 2 over 4. It's a 1 mid block, which is great, a 5 high for 6, and it lets us add 1 card from our discard to the top of our deck. This allows us to ensure our next check. As well as being an order, we have means of drawing. So we do have things like passing the torch and calling for backup, which are on the symbol, which allow us to then draw, but it's a great way of setting up a decent check. So the idea behind this attack package is to make my opponent on edge. I want every attack to feel worse than the one that came before it. I want you play Frozen Slash and then go, oh, the next one is worse. The next one is worse. The next one is worse. Always worrying about the attack that's coming next, even if there isn't one. Repeated smash is a huge threat. If you go frozen slash into downward spike into repeated smash, it's coming in as a 6-11 right off the bat. And you don't even have to have the repeated smash for that to be a floating threat. It's a decent pack card. I'd probably swap up some of the numbers with Future Charge and Heroic Strike to make it even more brutal. But being able to secure your checks with Final Smash makes it a lot easier to get the full value out of Repeated Smash. And full cowling 5% strike gives you ways out against Overhaul, against Nomu, against Mirio, against all these threats that are currently dominating the meta. Moving on to our foundation format, we've got Foresight. Yeah, it's a 0. It's just nice spam. This deck's got a lot of spam because we want to try and build out quickly so we can start applying pressure. Response after you play this, look at the top card of your deck. This is brilliant because you play it on a free, you look at the top card of your deck and go, cool, can I pass my next foundation? There's no cost to that ability, you just play it and you go, okay, cool. Can I pass my next foundation? I cannot. I will go from there, and then when you play it on a block, you can look and go, okay, and now I know if I can pass my next block or if I need to draw this card and what my next block zone is going to be, so that's really good. You're finished. If the top card of your deck is a copy of this attack, draw a card. Commit your rival commits one foundation is the deadlock. So it's only 2 off because it's not that great, but with things like powerful, with a lot of the 4 offs we're running, you may see an attack on top that's the exact same. And for me, that just extra card draw for a flip. Decent. Same Bakugo, same promise. Season advantage is still a thing. Calorie counter is still a thing. Bakugo 2 has seen a bit of a resurgence. So, same Bakugo comes in and it allows you to, it's 0 cost, 5 check foundation. That basically goes after you play after one of your foundations is flipped due to a rival effect, unflip it and draw a card. Now it is one of your other foundations due to ways of being able to manipulate that into infinite draw. So as long as they don't target with, say, Season Advantage saving Bakugo, you get to unflip whatever they're flipping and draw a card. It is a very good way of keeping your foundation safe. Requesting assistance is just a staple. It is a 0 cost, 5 check, enhance. As long as you've got 1 momentum, you can ready up a foundation. Momentum is a lot harder to get hold of than it used to be, especially with how people are playing it, but being able to utilize that momentum before it goes is very, very good. And as we're momentum-based characters as well with Shoto, we're always going to want to have at least 1 momentum for offense and defense shenanigans, so that's a great way to do it. Desperate Times is a great one with the way that people are drawing at the minute. It doesn't say for a character, for a non-character ability, so things like Midnight, things like Nezu are going to suffer for it, but a lot of 500s need that extra power. So being able to go Desperate Times, flip, after your rival draws a card, they commit 1 foundation. Pretty decent. Ice Gliding is a 1 cost, 5 check, commit. This attack gets +1 or -2 speed. If it's blocked, the next attack gets +1 or -1 speed. So it's a great way of affecting future attacks, as well as saying to your opponent, I'm blocking this and I'm making your next one easier to block, which is always good. Self-sacrifice is some nice little damage pump. Destroy a foundation, this attack gets +1 or -1 damage. It's a way to stay alive. So it's a nice way to play around deadlock. And it is a beautiful way to just say to your opponent, I am getting closer to killing you. Season Brawl is one that makes your opponent think about how they're going to block. Flip, after your rival makes blocks with an attack, draw 1 card, playable while committed. So this is now Tenacious. Basically means if you fail it, if you do poorly on a check, you can commit this and you're happy to commit it because you can flip it and draw if they block with an attack, which means that your opponent is going to be less likely to block with attacks because they need it. Because, they don't want to give you that extra value. Bonds of Friendship, 6 check. This Fury gets -3 damage. Is great against things like Providence Burn, Texas Smash, Rapid Punches. It's a lovely 6 check that you can combo with Final Smash. And is a great way to flip and just get some additional damage, keep yourself alive with additional damage reduction. Intimidating Presence is one that I wasn't too sure about, but with the rise of repeated smash decks, if you block for it, everything gets slower, easier to block, brilliant. But the main thing is that response flip after your rival readies one or more foundations due to their effect, flip one of them. Now, we get to select that, which is huge, and it makes it a lot easier to deal with. Passing the touch, commit, draw one card. If you have no cards in hand, draw two. This is a brilliant thing you can combo off with repeated smash. It makes it easier to launch as a first attack or as a poke, as well as a late game attack. You can draw more cards and then also still ready back up for the next turn. Heroic Lineage is just decent. You get, after your, it's a 2-cost 5 check, commit after your rival's attack receives a damage bonus, give it -3 speed. That's its main ability, that's what most people use it for. However, with the way that we can manipulate speed with our character, with the way that we can manipulate speed with EXs on repeated smash, you can also go commit after your attack receives a speed bonus, it gains 2 damage. Drowning in Resentment, flip, this stunt attack gets +2 or -2 damage, playable or committed, is absolutely brilliant. But the main one is a flip after a card leaves a discard due to any non-character effect. That rival adds the top card deck to their card pool face down. This is a great way of getting around Back Alley Haymaker, Reverse Throw. A lot of cards that are now coming out that allow them to get cards from the discard. It also means that if they use things like sticky balls or so that you can make it harder for your opponents to pass the next few checks, it just stops the discard being messed with by your opponent, which can be very huge in certain matchups. C2I Crisis have come around on a lot. The response commit makes my opponent's defensive turn a lot harder because it means I'm getting a card from their hand. So if they draw one, then they lose one. In this case, they may not be losing the card they drew, and they may be able to get that block zone, but they're now basically giving +1 speed to all my attacks by drawing one, which is fair. And then you've got the Enhance Tenacious Remove, returns attack to printed speed. It's a great little ability. It can make things a lot easier to deal with, especially as we've seen with Eraserheads using Fierce Whirlwind, with Abajiki's using Death Arm's Wallop. Being able to return something to its printed speed and go, yep, now I can block this, is absolutely huge, and especially when it's playable while committed, because your opponent will, a lot of opponents will overlook it because you go, oh, you commit out, you've got nothing you can do. You go, boom, yeah, I can. Speaking of forcing opponents to play the long game, League Invitation is a 4/3 check, non-unique, 5 check, 3 cost. Your turn, commit, your rival's next check gets -2. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't work with repeated smash, but it's a great way of making it a lot harder for your opponent to deal with blocks. And then you've also got flip. Your rival makes a check against a difficulty of 7. If they fail it, destroy one foundation, playable while committed. So it's a great way to slow your opponent down, because even if you do polling a check, if you wait for your opponent and then you just go boom, flip it, make a check against 7, they either have to commit 2 foundations, making their string a lot harder, or they have to blow up 1 foundation, which isn't as bad. It's 50% as bad, making their checks that harder. This is my Shoto punch deck. It's not that competitive. I've played it a couple of times. It's a lot of fun, more than anything. It's definitely not on my Nationals contender list, but I had a lot of fun playing it, and its original name was, oh look, every character can play Repeated Smash, because Repeated Smash is absolutely insane. I do love Repeated Smash, and thanks to the fact that I was able to get a hold of the 4 quite cheap, I have been playing them quite a lot. I don't know if I should keep playing them through Nationals, but we'll find out that later in the week. Thanks for joining me, and if you've got any decks you would like us to have an attempt at playing, or if you just want to know more about other decks we're looking at, please leave us a comment. We've had some great feedback from our decks like All for One and dabby. So we'll keep making these as long as we can keep coming up with decks to play. Thank you. Bye.